Sandra Waldrop here from Kingdom Acres Homemaking and Homestead. I am live on Facebook over here and TikTok over here. Welcome everyone. Today I am in the kitchen. My crafting desk is too messy and I said I ain't dealing with it today. I had to be in here this morning to go live on YouTube for Canuary. I did some canning, and so I said, hey, I've got some leftover jalapenos and peppers from my garden that I harvested this morning, and so we are going to be making some fire cider, and we're going to be discussing all the winter herbal things that you would want to have in your home apothecary, because right now there is a crazy flu going on, and I'm not saying that this is gonna help or cure that in any way, but it may support your body system if you are able to work some of this into your routine or into your kitchen. Over here on Facebook, this is my segment on Craft Around the Clock today. Normally I would be making something crafty that is like either homestead style or primitive, but today we're gonna do some preserving in a way that is going to support our bodies. Oh, you know what? I need to share myself in to Craft Around the Clock. I don't have a way to do that. I think I'm going to have to. Let me see if I can do it off my TikTok thing over here. I don't know if I'm still live on TikTok or not doing this, but I'm gonna have to figure that out. Sorry guys. Sorry. How do I do this? There we go. And I'll come over here. Oh, there we go. There's that one. And we are going to share that to group. And this is rough. Okay. Craft round. Okay. There we go. Hopefully I'm good now. I don't know. Okay. Sorry guys. Sorry TikTok people. I am hopefully in on Craft Around the Clock. So we are going to get chopping. Okay, I'm starting out with a half-gallon mason jar. You can use smaller jars just depending on, you know, what size jar you want to fill. If you are not a large family or you don't have friends that you're going to share this with, you may want to do a smaller jar. Just whatever. You can do a little jar to start to make sure that this is something that you're going to be able to stomach, because I got to tell you, it's really strong. It is very strong. Hello, Miss Kefany. How are you? Thanks for coming in, saying hi. Hello, all the TikTok people. Nancy, Lucerito, the iMac now. Sorry. Hi, guys. So we're going to be making some fire cider. I'm going to use a half-gallon jar over here is what I'm using. And I've got a lot of fun stuff. We've got peppers straight from my garden. It's been 85 degrees here south of Houston during the day. We've had a couple cold snaps, but nothing crazy. My pepper plants are still alive. Last night's cold snap made their leaves go limp, so I went ahead and harvested as many of the peppers as I could, just so that the plant isn't working so hard to support fruit when it really needs to be just trying to stay alive and rejuvenate after that cold snap. I don't know how cold it's going to get here this season. It seems like we're having a very mild winter. So, but earlier I had gone ahead and done a canning live, already canned a bunch of jalapenos, pickled in a pickling solution. That was with the white distilled vinegar, a little bit of water, and then the pickling salt, and I still have some of that over here. So I'm actually going to use some of that along with my organic apple cider vinegar. You want to make sure that the vinegars you're using are 5% because you're going to leave this sitting out. You don't want things getting moldy. You don't want things going bad. Hello, Miss Natalie. How are you? And so I know that a lot of people have been struggling with the sickies, whatever it is. And so this is a great thing if you, barring any allergies or anything like that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to give you medical advice. Please don't take this as, well, Sandra said I could have that, and then all of a sudden you're in a serious medical situation. That's not what I'm saying, okay? But what I am saying is that the Lord has provided us with amazing herbs and plants and just allies that can help us in the right situations, right? Hello, Miss Zimmy Simple Designs. How are you? Tanya looks... Yes, my Christmas tree is still up. Miss Tanya, I really need my Christmas tree taken down already. This year was just such a crazy year for Christmas with me being down, and so I'm going to, again, this is part of me trying to kind of work on my body more and support Mama, because if Mama's not doing good, then it affects the whole household. So all right, so supplies. Jar, we've got peppers, we've got some vinegar situations going on. If you typically, traditionally, you would just use apple cider vinegar, but because I have this brine going over here, we're just going to add it in. You want to do an organic apple cider vinegar with the mother. The mother is important because it's that good bacteria that's going to interact with your gut, okay? We've got onion, garlic, we've got some lemon, we've got mustard seeds. Mustard is one of those things that is going to dry you up in your upper respiratory system. So it's really good if you've got ear infections, anything like that. We've got fresh cilantro, which is great for not just supporting your immune system, but also tummy issues. So any nausea, anything like that. You're going to take your tree down tomorrow, Stacy. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone watching. Hello, Butterfly, Jeannie, I am Cisco, Doris, Superstar, Alicia, Sonia, and Divine. How are y'all? We're making some fire cider, y'all. We've got cranberries, fresh cranberries. These are great for supporting your kidneys. Your kidneys clean your blood, okay? Your kidneys are needed for a good immune system, okay? We want to support healthy organs, and your kidneys are definitely an important organ to support. Okay, we've got fresh turmeric, we've got fresh ginger, and then I've got my teeny tiny cayenne that grew this year. These ones are just so teeny tiny, and so these are fresh. I also have some end of season cayenne that I picked 2022, and I dried them, and they've just been sitting on a shelf. They need to get used up. We don't want to keep things sitting around forever and not use them, and then they go to waste. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of these in there, and the capsaicin in the cayenne and the jalapenos, that it's such a great thing for immune support. It also helps with pain and inflammation. So great stuff all the way around. Ginger, we've got our ginger going here. What else? Oh, and then I've got some rosemary that I picked on Christmas Eve. So it's been drying. You can see there it's been drying. It's I could have used it fresh off the plant, but since I had this here left over unused, I'm going to go ahead and just toss it in. I don't always use cayenne, and I don't always use cranberries. I've done fire cider with a lot of different berries in one, cinnamon sticks and stuff, and made it kind of more of a dessertish type, like if you're thinking of like a raspberry vinaigrette type thing. Fire cider is very forgiving. You can use what you have and what you like. Mary Gladstar has an entire book on just a million different fire cider recipes. Okay, this is just what I had on hand, and so what I'm going to use. And it's literally chop, drop, and cover and let it sit. Okay, this will be ready to use, and you can start using it in like a week. It's full strength at about 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and then anything beyond that, it just keeps getting better and better. I don't ever strain my fire cider. Some people strain it after 6 weeks, but I just keep adding more vinegar to it, or I'll take stuff out and add stuff in or whatever, just for my home use. If I'm doing it for somebody else, I do fresh bottles every time. So I'm going to start out with, let's start with the ginger. And I'm not even going to take any of the skin off. I'm going to leave the skin right on it with the organic ginger. If you're not using organic, you definitely want to peel it or soak it or do, what you need to do. But I am, I'm just leaving the skin on, and just, make sure you're doing the best with what you got, okay? I know that organic can be a little different, priced, okay? So you don't want to go broke and then not be able to afford something else. But just a couple different options there for you. So I've had this ginger in my refrigerator for probably a couple weeks now because I've just had stuff going on and I've been meaning to make it, and then you know how that goes. And the purpose of chopping is to create more surface area. You're creating more surface area. Hello, Miss Kelly, Lori, how are you? Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, Marcella, Esperanza, Danny, Valerie, Karen, hello. So you do what you can with what you got when you get busy. It's been a busy time of year. What was I saying? I was in the middle of saying something. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. You're creating more surface area by chopping. If you just stuck this in there whole, yes, you would still get the extraction, but it's not going to be able to get it out as easily. Now, people like to call extractions that are made with vinegar, they like to call them tinctures. They're actually not tinctures. Oh, thanks, Sandy. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here with us today. They like to call them tinctures, but they're actually acetums. An acetum is anything that's made with an acid like vinegar, okay? And it can be apple cider vinegar, it can be white distilled vinegar, whatever, but that is an acetum. A tincture is usually made with alcohol, such as moonshine, if you're in the moonshine making business, or vodka, usually 100 proof because it's 50% alcohol, 50% water. That is what I use when I make an alcohol tincture. There are glycerin tinctures that are actually called glycerites, okay? And that is usually, glycerin is usually the main ingredient when you are looking at a tincture that is made for children because it's sweet. It's easier for them to stomach. My kids, they just take the regular old tinctures that I make with what's available to us, that I don't have to order, special order anything. you know, I don't have to special order it, so it's easier just to do the vodka. I'm gonna turn my Facebook people just a little bit. Sorry, TikTok, so you guys can see. Hello, Mama B. How are you? So for those of you who are just coming on, we are making fire cider. We've got about that much ginger going so far. I'd say that's about a cup and a half, almost 2 cups of ginger. Okay, ginger and turmeric are great to include in this. It has a medicinal compound called curcumin that really is great for inflammation. So you get a sinus infection or allergies, a lot of time that postnasal drip or the drainage that you're getting is caused by the inflammation from the histamines. When that inflammation is gone, it really helps dry you up. So I love ginger and turmeric for that purpose. Let's see here what's going on. It's taped. The box is taped. Now, if you are cutting up turmeric, you may want to use gloves. I never do. I just live with the repercussions of turning my skin that color orange, and it stays that way for about a week. And I'm okay with that. I'm not a hand model, so I'm not worried about it. But it's just fresh turmeric. A lot of stores carry this in their produce department. If you cannot get it fresh, you can still get it dry, but it's not going to be as potent, because once a plant or one of your plant allies has been dried, it starts dropping in potency. So just keep that in mind. You'll want to use a little bit more. Things that degrade potency are things that decompose, right? So over time, we decompose. Look at my skin. I don't look like a 20-year-old now anymore, do I? Sunlight, heat, all those things degrade and decompose, right? So you want to keep your fresh ginger stored in your dark refrigerator. Keep it until you're going to use it. And then once you get it chopped up and put in there, while it sits and gets extracted by the vinegar, you're going to put it in a cool, dark cupboard. Does not have to go in the refrigerator. I just put it somewhere cool and dark, or you can leave it on your cool countertop away from your appliances, just under a kitchen towel, a hand towel, or if you wanted to keep it in the fridge, you could just keep it in the fridge. I know lots of people who just keep their fire cider in the refrigerator. Hello, pretty blue eyes, Serge. All my friends over here on TikTok, how are y'all? Trying not to chop my fingers. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to ask. So I've got equal parts here, ginger and turmeric. Okay. Ginger and turmeric work synergistically together because they have the same medicinal compound. Okay. With them, you want to add black pepper, because black pepper makes those compounds more bioavailable and it absorbs easier into your system. So I just do about that much, however much that was, maybe like a teaspoon or two. You can use peppercorns. I don't have any peppercorns, so I just used the ground black pepper. but I have used peppercorns in the past. It's whatever your preference is. Okay, now I'm just going to take my rosemary and I'm just going to pull off these dry stems and toss them in there for more immune support. Rosemary is great for cough and colds and just supporting your immune system through this nasty buggy time that we've got going on here right now for just about everybody. People all over the country, I've been getting reports from them all saying, oh, we've got the flu, oh, we've got a cold, oh, we've got allergies. In Texas, we like to say allergies because we don't want to stay home. We ain't staying home if we've got a runny nose. But a lot of times it is actually the dreaded bug that's going around. And my little one is scheduled for adenoid and tonsil removal coming up on the 14th, on my birthday. Difference between white pepper versus black pepper. Okay, I usually just use black pepper. I don't really think there is a difference. I may be wrong. I've never even considered white pepper. Stephanie, that is a great question. Let me know if you decide to research that, and if I remember, I will look it up and try to get back to your comment, because that is a great question. Never even considered it. I don't even think that they sell white pepper here. So, but black pepper is what I use. Do you typically use white pepper in your cooking, Stephanie? So, definitely get as much of this rosemary in there as you can. Anyway, so my daughter is scheduled for her surgery. And I have had her, the past week or so, I have had her on a tincture that is half rosemary tincture and half mustard tincture. Okay, we're talking about a vodka tincture here, because I don't order the glycerin for my kids. They can just they just take the little dropper full and then they drink like some juice with it and they're fine. It tastes horrible. They don't like it, but they'll get used to it. Anyways, since we've started doing the rosemary mustard tincture, we've noticed a decrease in the snoring. And so when we go for pre-op, I'm going to ask that they scope her again or look at her again to make sure that she actually needs the surgery. Because if she does not need that surgery, we are not getting it. You heard white pepper is easier to digest. Okay, that might be you might be onto something there, Stephanie. That's awesome. All right, so we've got some rosemary in there. I'll do the second one later. I'm not going to do it right now, just for time's sake, because we're already 20 minutes in. Okay, so let me do some peppers here. I've got some jalapeno peppers. All of these have been washed because I went ahead and washed the batch this morning since I was canning on my YouTube live. So I'm just going to cut it down the middle there and then just make little half rings there, about a 1/4 inch in size. And again, I'm just doing that to create more surface area so that the vinegar is able to extract easier. Some people like to put their stuff into food processors to get to really just like emulsify everything. I don't do that because I don't know, I'm kind of a purist in that way. I like for things, hello Miss Diane, I like for things to be close to their natural, just the way the Lord made them. I don't know. I know we are making fire cider, Miss Diane. Hello, Sandy from Texas. Where in Texas are you? I'm south of Houston. And this is, we are doing this, we're making this for my people who need some immune support right now. So hopefully we can fight off the crazy, I think they're calling it like a super flu or something that's going around. I don't know. It sounds pretty intense, but we are going to start taking our fire cider to support our immune system, and hopefully we won't get it. Hopefully we won't get it. If you were taking this for immune support before you're sick, I would say you only need to take a little bit, maybe like a teaspoon once a day. Mix it with honey if you can't take it straight, or put it in water or something, because it burns and it's going to make you burp garlic. Okay, it's not pleasant. It's not always the most pleasant situation, but if it keeps us from having to deal with that flu, I'm all for it. So now I'm just cutting the tops off of my little cayenne. Excuse me. The smell of that jalapeno like went down my throat. The jalapeno vapors. I know it was that red one. When they turn red, they've been out there a while, stressing out, and they get hot. Oh, thanks, Sandy. Gilmer, Texas. Okay. Oh gosh, I should know where that is. I've been all over the map this week looking at all of the cattle shows for my daughter, because I don't want to have to drive like crazy far for shows, but we missed showing in November and December because of the holidays, and also my kidneys have just been ridiculous to me. So that's also why we are including those cranberries in there for my kidneys. They're angry with me again. I drank a blue soda from Buc-ee's yesterday, and that blue dye is horrible for your kidneys. But I am a firm believer in balance. Okay, I'm sitting here with all my natural remedies, and then I'm like, yeah, I had a soda from Buc-ee's. I don't usually drink soda, but it was a celebration yesterday, so I went ahead and had a little treat. But let me tell you, I'm paying for it today. Now, if you have good working kidneys and you can have more than an occasional soda, let me tell you this trick that I invented myself. I did not see it on a TikTok. I did not see it on a reel. I really wanted a dirty soda one day, and we went into Buc-ee's, and I got a soda in their little cup, and then I took it over to the coffee station. Okay, Tyler in Longview, you're not far from us at all. I went over to the coffee station, and I used their little French vanilla creamers and just put it right in, and y'all, oh my gosh, heaven. Okay, that's probably about a quarter cup's worth of fresh cilantro right there. Maybe a third of a cup's worth. Again, I do the folklore method when it comes to folk method when it comes to my herbal tinctures and remedies, because it's just for me. I'm not trying to get a chemistry degree from doing this. I know there's a lot of people who will take like grain alcohol and have to do a bunch of math and everything to do their tinctures. More power to them. Don't throw away your scraps. Put them in a baggie, put them in the freezer, and then when you make your bone broth, add them to your slow cooker. And it will extract the nutrition from all this stuff into your bone broth too. And it'll flavor it. So just a little tip there for y'all. If you want to have a more intentional, less waste kitchen, you definitely want to be saving your scraps. For some things, I turn it into eggs. It goes straight to my chickens. You make cayenne pepper, lemon juice, hot tea. Yes. First sign of a sniffle. It's good. It's good. That'll definitely kick it out. I had a friend one year who her whole household was struggling with something. And they all had ear infections along with the sniffles and everything else. And she had taken anything she could over the counter, went to the doctor, took whatever they gave her. Like, nothing was kicking this. And so she was like, last ditch effort. Is there anything you can give me to, that could maybe help us out? And so I gave her colloidal silver, mustard tincture, and fire cider. And that was it. It was maybe like 3 days, and they were healed in the name of Jesus. They were healed. So I'm like, there's definitely something to this if you can have this. Sometimes our bodies just need like normal stuff. The stuff you get from over the counter, it works, but it's synthetic. It usually does work, right? But it's synthetic, and sometimes you have to deal with side effects, etc., etc. I'm not saying this is without side effects, because burping garlic while you're trying to eat a pancake or something, that is a definite side effect. But this is a way that I choose to support the health of my family, and with real ingredients that I know where they came from. I'm going to try to get everything in here. Once you get to the top, you just start like pushing things down in there. And once we get it all filled with our plant matter, then we will cover it all the way to the top with the apple cider vinegar. I keep thinking I only have 45 minutes. I have a whole hour. I have a whole hour. I hope everyone on TikTok is enjoying this. If y'all have any questions, please let me know if you have any questions about anything that we're discussing here today. And so, again, fire cider. It's a great way to prevent sickness sometimes and help you heal. So I'm just doing the whole onion. The whole onion is going right in the jar, okay? Whoops. Well, except for what I drop on the floor. That's going in the trash. What I drop on the floor is not going in the jar. Oh gosh. That's funny. But if you are interested in any of these homestead style things that you can do, even if you don't live on a homestead, it doesn't mean that you can't go to the store and get you some onions and stuff. You don't have to have homegrown jalapenos or cayenne. Use what you've got. Use what you've got available to you, and keep it on hand. This stuff, I love fire cider because you don't just have to take it like, you see those pictures of the kids being fed the cod liver oil in, the 20s and 30s or whatever it was. You don't have to take it like that. You don't have to just spoon it down. You can mix it with honey and avocado oil and use it as a salad dressing. You can incorporate it into your diet like that. You can stir it into some water and make yourself like a vinegar sipper and just sip on it all day long. Especially if you're doing like a berry fire cider, that would be excellent to put that in a cup of water, don't put it in a Stanley, but if you have like the glass Stanley style cups, you can use that. You don't want to put this in anything metal. How do you, oh, the tea, yeah. Hello, Miss Kim. So yeah, you don't want to put this in metal, but a glass style Stanley would work great. And you just put, you know, a tablespoon or two of your fire cider in there. Put some water and some vanilla. I'm talking about a berry flavored fire cider. And that's going to be great. With that one, I would do cranberries, raspberries, strawberries, cinnamon, cloves, maybe some anise. You want to be careful with anise and cloves, but you can put some in there. And, you know, and as always with this kind of stuff, do your own research, do what you're comfortable with. Don't include anything that you don't want to include that you're concerned about. But you put a couple of tablespoons in there, put some vanilla and some ice, and fill it to the top with water. You've got yourself a delicious all-day sipper. And I've done it just with straight vinegar, the straight apple cider vinegar. It's called Good Girl Moonshine. You can look it up. And it is very beneficial to your gut. I'm over here peeling this garlic. I'm going to smell so fantastic later. And there's all kinds of ingredients, recipes out there for Good Girl Moonshine. You can go as crazy with the garlic as you want to on this recipe that we're making right now. But the way I do it typically is when I'm sick, I just shoot it on back. Now, whenever you go to make some bone broth, usually you want to include some vinegar in your bone broth to go ahead and pull some of those minerals from the bones, right? And help break down the collagen. Use your fire cider. Use your fire cider. You're just adding more nutrition and it's just good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So I've got these dry cayenne from years before, from 2022. And I'm just gonna take top off, break it in half, stick a few in there. I really need to get these used up, so I'm using these. I had pulled them off before cold snap that year. We had a cold 2022 winter, and so I harvested them before the cold snap, so they were still green. I didn't have time to let them turn red, and so I just harvested them and then stuck them into my dehydrator, and so they're still good. They've been in my pantry just waiting for me to pull them out and use them. So stick those in there. I'm not going to use the whole jar, but some of them in there will do. And then I'm going to use some mustard, and I'm going to use lemon. Woo! That was a good amount of mustard seeds. I didn't realize I opened the big part. I wanted about that much, but I didn't realize I was going to pour so fast. Okay, so I got the mustard. Let's do the lemon, and then we will do the cranberries. What else? What else can we throw in there? This is just going to be a fun one. I've had this lemon for a while, so let's see if it's okay or not. This one's kind of old. Bear with me. It may not work out for us. It's got some icky parts. It's fine. It's fine. As a person who grew up very extremely low income, I'm very much a person who will just cut off the bad part and use what's good. Waste not, want not is what I live by. So try not to waste. Okay. Half that lemon's good in there. Now let's do cranberry. Let's talk about the cranberry, okay? Let me rinse these. You bowled with 80. We asked her how she moves so well. She said she started drinking vinegar, honey, and cayenne pepper every day. I tell you, Miss Diane, there's something to this. There is something to this. Ear infection. Oh, man. You went to, yeah. I'm sorry, Glenda. Ear infections are the worst. They are the worst. Let me just rinse this real quick, guys. Oh, goodness. I've got my little one back there behind the camera. She's been watching me this whole time. She's asleep. So you're just going to puncture each cranberry. Just give it a stab or two with the end of your knife, or if you've got a skewer, you can do that. Just puncture it. Just puncture it. You can cut it in half if you want, but you just want that vinegar to be able to penetrate into the cranberry, to be able to pull out all those beneficial enzymes and compounds. Dropping stuff over here. Dropping stuff. Hello, Shelly, Daisy, Connie, Annette. How are y'all? Alright. Popped when I poked it. Alright, so canning jars. This is a canning jar. And any jar you save usually has a metal lid. Vinegar does what to metal? It eats it, right? Because it's a mineral. It's going to eat it. You do not want metal in your fire cider. That's not, it's not what we want. So you can put parchment. You can use a plastic lid. I might have some plastic lids we can use instead of putting some parchment down. But a lot of people put parchment, which does help. You can use wax paper, but it's going to eat the wax. Really, anything you put, it's going to end up in there. I recommend getting yourself a plastic topper, a plastic lid for these, and then leaving room so that it doesn't touch, because you don't really want microplastics in your fire cider, but you don't want metal in there. If they made glass lids, that's what I would be purchasing for this specifically. Maybe if somebody has an in at Ball or any of the others, let them know that I'm interested in collaborating on a glass lid product for these. All right, so I have a little canning deal that's going to help me not spill everywhere with this. This was just my brine from earlier. I'm going to use some of it. I won't use all of it. It's because I have it on hand, and why not? That apple cider vinegar costs quite a bit more than white distilled vinegar. We will still get the benefits of the mother because we're still going to add that in there, but we're going to put some of this white vinegar mixture in here to help it along. And people often worry about organic versus non-organic when dealing with distilled products like vodka. I don't worry about buying organic vodka because, again, it ups the price quite a bit. And the less tinctures I can make, the less tinctures we have on hand for people who need it. So I do not buy organic vodka. It's distilled. Nothing is getting through the distillation process. I can promise you that. Nothing is getting through that. So I don't worry about that. White vinegar. I'm not worried about it. It's distilled. Okay? Not worrying about it. Apple cider vinegar is not distilled. You want organic. You want to do organic with apple cider vinegar. I hope that makes sense. Not everybody agrees. I've had this conversation with several people and they just weren't comfortable using non-organic vodka or whatever. That's perfectly fine. Everyone's got to do what they're comfortable with, right? Or what they are able to do. If you are in a higher tax bracket, you may not have to make those kinds of choices, right? And this one specific lady that I was having this conversation, she's in a higher tax bracket. So if she wants to do organic stuff, really, it's greenwashing. That's all it is. It's greenwashing. But if that's what she's comfortable with, then that's what she's comfortable with, and I am not going to argue with her on the way she spends her money. Okay. That's all there is to that. That's all that took of that. We did half with the white distilled and then half with the apple cider vinegar. And that will tone down the apple cider vinegar taste too. So, but it's still going to extract. Distilled vinegar is going to actually pull harder than apple cider vinegar will. Okay, anything distilled is more hungry, especially in terms of minerals. It's more hungry than something that is not distilled. So like when I do, oh, you made homemade vanilla extract. Okay, great. That is, people love homemade. Hi, Sparky. Thanks so much for the sprinkles. People love homemade stuff like that, right? Vanilla extract is like, wow, people love that. And a lot of people will use rum, right? They like to use rum. The darker alcohols don't pull as hard. So you're going to get the color with actually less of the vanilla. And it doesn't matter. Some people just prefer the taste because rum is delicious. Do you shake for what's settled on the bottom? What is settled on the bottom is in contact with the liquid. So it really doesn't matter. If you think about dropping a dropper of food coloring or food dye into a cup of water, it's going to dye the whole cup of water, right? Not just what's on top. The stuff on the bottom, as it extracts, it's just going into the liquid, okay? And when you pour it and everything's mixed up and pulled out, and it's going to be just fine like that. So I'm not concerned about shaking or anything like that. This is a process that's been done for centuries, right? People have been making tinctures and extracts for centuries. And the vinegar knows what it's doing. The alcohol knows what it's doing. The glycerin knows what it's doing. The honey, if you're doing a honey infusion, the honey knows. The honey knows. So it's going to pull, it's going to infuse, it's going to do the job. Some people like to shake, and they'll shake daily, and the friction may help some, but truthfully, it's going to do it regardless. It's going to do it. So, if you enjoy looking at your creation, like, this is beautiful, y'all. This is gorgeous. You could give this away as a gift, and people are going to be like, what is that? You know, like, this is really beautiful. People love to get stuff like this. If you have a friend and y'all gift for all of the holidays and you're wanting to give something special for Valentine's Day or a birthday, fire cider is something fun. And I'm the person that likes to walk around with tincture bottles and be like, hey, you want to try this? with my friends, because I know their allergies and stuff like that. But if you've got a friend, you know, maybe wants to try something like this, maybe is looking to get into more healthy living, or, you know, more just natural, slower lifestyle, I'm sure they would love to get something like this and give it a try. And it's just beautiful. Now, if you wanted to do more, you're like, okay, well, I did the fire cider and I've got my cabinet ready to go. If you just did the turmeric, ginger, and black pepper in a jar with vodka, that's how I do my my turmeric tincture. We take that for headaches, we take it for period cramps, we take it when we're sick, when we feel like something's coming on, when we know something's going around. If you are taking blood pressure medication or anything like that, though, you have to be careful with turmeric and ginger, okay? Let me say that again. If you have blood pressure issues, please be careful with turmeric and ginger, because you do not want to end up on the floor, okay? It's like double dosing yourself. So make sure, if you are taking any conventional medicine, that you check for contraindications with anything that you're doing like this, because this is medicine. It is medicine. So just be careful with that. And I may have just disqualified a great many of y'all. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So you could do a tincture just with the turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. You can do a tincture just with the mustard seeds. You can do a tincture just with the cayenne. I like to keep cayenne on hand as a rescue tincture. Not that it is going to replace medical care. It will not replace medical care. But if somebody's having a heart attack and you can give them the cayenne, there's potential that you could save their life with cayenne tincture. So you definitely want to do your research on that if that's something that you're interested in, or you have any concerns about heart things going on. You might be interested in having some cayenne tincture, okay? And it's literally, if you are doing fresh plant matter, you're going to fill to the top, cover it all the way with your alcohol. If you are doing dry plant matter, you are going to fill it halfway with your dry plant matter and then go all the way to the top with your vodka, okay? So it's full for fresh, half for dry, because you can overdo it with the dry. Do I have the recipe and instructions? I can put something together, but Rosemary Gladstar has an entire book on fire cider, okay? That is a book that I recommend. As far as tinctures go, I recommend starting out with the book called Alchemy of Herbs, and it'll teach you all about the turmeric. It'll teach you about some funner things like yarrow that, I'd never heard of yarrow before I, delved into the world of herbalism. And so that book was a great starting off point for me. So I don't have a recipe card put together at the moment for this, but I will put one together and I will post that on my Facebook. If anybody over here on TikTok is interested, I will also post it on TikTok. I'll post it on both accounts later on today with the recipe for this. If you are watching this later on YouTube, go into the community posts because I will post it there as well. I'll put together a little graphic with the recipe on it because this is just great. But Alchemy of Herbs, if you really want to get into tincture making and making your own remedies and things like that, it's just a great book to start you off and get your feet kind of wet. You really want to work one by one when you are getting into that. Work with one herb at a time, get to know it, understand how it works with your body and, how you feel about it. Some things you just don't want to, you try it once and you've bought a whole 1 pound bag of this herb off of Frontier, Co-op or whatever. And you're like, well, now what am I going to do with it? I can't even take it. It tastes disgusting. Y'all, I'd rather be sick than take Golden Seal. I would just rather be sick. Now, if I've got a tooth infection or something like that, I'll take the Golden Seal. I will take the Golden Seal. But it tastes so bad. If I don't have to take it, I ain't gonna take it. I've been sick, so sick on the couch. And my husband will come to me with this evil grin on his face because when he's sick, I'm like, well, take this, open your mouth, and I'll give him all the different tinctures. And he's like a 5-year-old, just taking the stuff. Well, when I get sick, he comes to me with this evil grin. He's like, open wide. Because he knows how I feel about Golden Seal. And he's more than happy to dose me up with that so that I feel better, but also just a tiny bit of torture. He's just funny with that. So, but anyways, I hope this was educational for you, and I hope maybe it sparked some interest and maybe will help you kind of take a turn towards a healthier lifestyle or even just more intentional living. It's fun. It's fun to know things. I just feel so powerful knowing all this stuff. Oh, you have a headache? Here, eat this cayenne pepper. In the end of the world times, I can still, fix a boo-boo. Or maybe just another Great Depression. I don't know. We don't know what's in store for us. But if it's nothing, it's still good for your gut, good for your mind, good for your health. And the only side effect I know of is that you're going to burp some garlic. I mean, turmeric. Again, I'm going to say it. Research it. Make sure it's right for you. And TikTok's making me drag a puzzle into place. Okay, there we go. Just make sure it's right for you before you take anything. Anyways, all right, I'm going to hop off of here. There will be another presenter in Craft Around the Clock. Not sure who it is today. I did not look to see who's scheduled, but y'all just go back in there, refresh the page, keep an eye out on my page, make sure that my page is not on default, but add me to your favorites because then you'll see me in your feed more and you'll be able to you'll be able to know when I post that recipe card or any additional resources and stuff. I do have a wellness kit that I do for my friends locally, and I can put the link to that PDF that I put together in case you're interested in making like oregano tincture, rosemary tincture, mustard tincture, anything like that. I've got rosemary, oregano, gosh golly, turmeric, cayenne, and one more. I can't remember. Mustard. Did I say mustard? I don't know. There's 5 in there. Hello, Lori. How are you? So I will link that too. So just keep an eye out. Make sure I'm in your favorites. And I will see y'all tomorrow at 4 o'clock for crafting with my baby girl. Arabella is going to be joining us live for a fun little New Year's craft. So I hope to see y'all tomorrow. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning on YouTube for some more canning. We are going to do some chocolate syrup. So I will see you all then. Y'all take care. Thank you for homemaking a homemade home with me today. Bye, y'all.